All right, let's dive into a really powerful idea from Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's this. Your thoughts, the stuff happening in your head right now, are literally the architects of your life. It sounds simple, right? But believe me, the implications are absolutely massive. So, let me just ask you, straight up, do you believe your thoughts create your life? I mean, most of us, if you ask us, we'd say, yeah, of course. But here's the kicker that Dr. Dispenza brings up. If we really believe that, like deep down in our bones, would we be living the way we do? Would we let even one day go by without intentionally creating the future we want? And that right there, that's the core of the problem for so many of us. You see, our brain, for the most part, is just a record of the past. It's like a library of everything we've ever learned and experienced. And what does that mean? It means we spend most of our lives stuck in this endless, repetitive loop, basically just living on autopilot. I mean, just think about your morning routine. Does this sound familiar? You wake up, probably on the same side of the bed, you kind of shuffle to the bathroom, you use the toilet, you look in the mirror just to remember who you are. Then you go through the motions, the same shower, the same grooming, you put on the clothes that people expect you to wear, you grab your favorite mug, drive the exact same route to work, you see the same people who push all the same emotional buttons, and then you rush home, just to do it all over again the next day. So really think about a day like that. Did your brain change at all? The answer is a hard no. Of course not. Why? Because you were just running a program. Your mind was completely checked out, living in the past, and your environment was calling all the shots.
And this leads to a really crucial formula. It's simple. Same thoughts lead to the same actions. Same actions create the same experiences. And those same experiences produce, you guessed it, the same emotions. It's a completely closed loop. And the craziest part? We go through this day after day, secretly hoping that something, anything, will change.
Okay, so why? Why are we so stuck in this cycle? Well, let's get into the science of it, because it's not just about having a bad habit. Oh no, there's a really deep neurological reason this happens. It all comes down to a fundamental principle in neuroscience. Nerve cells that fire together wire together. Every single time you repeat a thought or an action, you're making the connection between those brain cells stronger. You are literally hardwiring your brain into a fixed personality, day in and day out. And this creates this incredibly powerful self-perpetuating cycle. It goes like this. You have a thought. That thought produces a chemical in your brain that makes you feel a certain way. And the second you start to feel that way, you start to think in ways that match that feeling. So you think, then you feel. Then you feel, so you think. This loop can go on and on, sometimes for decades.
And this gets us to what a habit really is, according to Dispenza. A habit is when your body becomes the mind. It's when your body knows how to do something or how to feel an emotion better than your conscious mind does. Your body is literally running the show, all on a subconscious level.
So just how much of you is running on this subconscious programming? Well, take a look at this number. It might shock you.
Yep, 95%. By the time you hit about 35 years old, 95% of who you are is just a subconscious program, a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, habits, and beliefs. So think about that. Your little 5% conscious mind is trying to create a new future, but it's going up against 95% of your entire being that's trying to stay in the past. It's a tough fight.
Okay, so that's the problem. It's a big one. But here's the good news. This is the turning point. The key to breaking free from the cycle is to learn how to think greater than your environment, greater than your body, and even greater than time itself. So this really leaves us with two ways to live, two fundamental states of being. On one hand, you can live in the past. That's where your environment controls your thinking. But on the other hand, you can start creating the future, and that's where your thinking starts to control and shape your environment.
And you know what? Every great leader in history got this. Think about people like William Wallace, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., even Joan of Arc. They all had a vision for a future that they couldn't see or touch yet. It didn't exist in their current reality, but it was so incredibly alive in their minds that they started living as if it had already happened. And really, this all boils down to one simple yet profound idea. Your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. It really is that simple. Who you are, meaning how you think, how you act, and how you feel, is the engine that generates the life you experience.
Okay, so this is where it gets really practical. If your personality is creating your personal reality, then how in the world do you create a new personal reality?
Well, remember, your personality is made up of three key things: how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So it follows, right?
To create a new personal reality, you have to fundamentally change your thoughts, you have to change your actions and habits, and you have to change those emotions that your body has memorized.
And let's be really, really clear on this point. You cannot create a new personal reality while being the same old personality. It just doesn't work that way. It will never work. To have a new life, you literally have to become someone else.
So the ultimate goal here is to get to a new state of being. And what is that? That's the magical moment when your thoughts, which are the language of your brain, and your feelings, the language of your body, are perfectly aligned. When your mind and body are finally on the same page working together, that is who you are being. And why does this matter so much? Because the universe, you can call it the quantum field, whatever works for you, it doesn't respond to just what you want. It doesn't even respond to just your thoughts alone. It responds to who you are being, that powerful combined signal of your aligned thoughts and feelings.
So there you have it. We've talked about the problem, we've laid out the solution. It all seems pretty straightforward, right? But Dr. Dispenza points out that the single biggest obstacle, the thing that stops most people, is actually the simplest thing of all.
You know, after you understand all the neuroscience, you get the formulas, you see the whole process, the single hardest part of all of this is
Making the time. That's it. The hardest part is simply making the time to do the work. It's not that it's too complicated, it's not that it's too hard, it's about having the commitment to actually carve out that time for your new self every single day. So we're left with one final crucial question. The knowledge is right here, the path forward is clear. The only thing left to ask is you. Will you make the time? Will you make the time to break the habit of being your old self and finally start creating the future you actually want?